Hey team, it's Daniel again with Brazos Valley Boars and Varmits. So I am finally going to do the review of the iRay infiRay USA Zoom ZH Monocular. This is a dual field of view monocular that's got some really great features. I love this thing. Let's talk about it. Alright guys, so here is the infiRay Outdoor Zoom Series Dual Field of View Handheld Monocular. This is a 640 by 512 thermal handheld scanner. There are two versions of this. There are the ZH38, which is what this one is, and then there's also the ZH50. First, let's start with the box and what all comes with it. Guys, this is the box. This is a very large thing. I realize it's going to be hard for me to get this whole thing in frame, but let's just get through this part. This first box inside is where you have all of the different plugs based on what country you're living in. You can see I've got one of these removed. That's because I live here in Texas, good old America. But these other ones, I don't know what plugs what countries use these different plugs, but you've got them, so sounds great. You're basically never going to use this. Let's move that out of the way. The next thing inside is going to be a lanyard. This lanyard is actually for the soft case that's in here, but obviously you can see I've never used that either. I'm going to put all of those back, and then let's get to the soft case. Again, two D-rings on the back of this soft case, zippered. These zippers are nice. I like having a good soft case. When you get inside, there is a sleeve here, and this one has another lanyard for the actual thermal scanner itself. As you can see, I've never used it. It's still in its original plastic. Comes with the lens cloth. Let me put all that back. And then if you flip that section divider over, this is where the actual thermal sits, is inside of there. And then the battery goes right here. So I like the soft case, but let's get to the actual real heart of what we're wanting to deal with, and that's going to be the scanner itself. I'm going to slowly roll in the specs about this as we go along the way, so just enjoy those, because I know that they get real boring if I sit here and talk about them. The big things are that this is right now about $4,000, and this is November of 2022. This is a 640 by 512 thermal scanner. The base magnification is 1.5, and the frame rate refresh is 50 Hertz, and this does include audio and video recording. So starting at the very front, again, this is the 38mm model. There is also the 50mm model, which is actually about $4,500, so $500 more than this one right here. Again, all the specs are the same except for the objective lens size and also the base magnification being 2.0, whereas this one is advertised at 1.5, which also means that you are going to have different field of views, but that all makes sense with different base magnifications. Everything else about the two are the exact same. This right here is your objective focus. Now, one really cool thing, and y'all all know this already about the Zoom, is that you can get it focused where you want to at the lower base magnification. This one being 1.5, the ZH50 being 2.0, and then if you keep turning it, you'll eventually get it to where all of a sudden it gets real fuzzy, out of focus. You keep going, and it becomes to start get in focus again after it has changed the focal length of the lens that's inside of it. Now, I've heard some people talk about how, oh, there's two lenses in there. No, no, no. It's changing the distance of the focal length of the lens, which in turn changes your magnification to something completely different while still keeping it all an optical magnification. That is a huge win for this. This is the first thermal device that you can get optical zoom, and even though it's not zoom in the traditional sense, this is optical zoom because you can increase or decrease your base quality magnification from one thing to another. And so even though you can't really go from, like on this one it's 1.5, you can't go from 1.5 to 1.6 to 2.0 all at that 640 by 512 resolution. This one will do 1.5 and then jump up to 3.0. So you kind of have two thermal scanners in one when you go with the Zoom series. That is a huge win. It's a first infiRay. Congratulations, y'all did a great job when figuring out how to make that happen. So again, you get two different thermal base magnifications. Basically you get either 1.5 that then jumps up to 3.0, or then you get 2.0 which jumps up to 4.0. Again, if you are trying to figure out which one to get, if you wanted low magnification or high magnification, you can get both. The question is, do you want 1.5 and 3, or do you want 2.0 and 4? So this is, I just can't talk enough about how much I love that feature on this thermal. Moving along to the back, you've got a 4-button layout, and I do like how these buttons are very spaced out by comparison to some other thermal scanners. And then if you notice, the power button is really the one that's spaced out a little bit further above, and it is raised up. And these other ones have these ridges in between them, versus this one is just on a platform above the rest. So that definition that really helps you figure out exactly which button you're touching is very nice. I really like that. That is a super cool feature. Just having these little plastic changes in the housing makes a big difference whenever you're trying to feel around for your buttons. Also on the side, you get your standard hand strap. This one I actually really like better than any other hand strap I've used on any other thermal. I've got plenty of space in here. I got a nice big backing here. It feels really good. And then rotating onto the other side is where your battery pack is. I really do like how you have to go through a couple of steps to get that battery out, but it's not hard. Obviously, you flip up that lever that I just flipped up, then you twist it. There's only one way that you can actually twist, and then you pull it out. And this battery is listed to last 10 hours, which is an amazing amount of hours compared to what other thermal scanners are using. That is a long time, and my field results have been very similar to that. I haven't sat down and actually timed it myself, but guys, I have never had to change out this battery in the field. This thing just keeps going. Again, if you do need a spare battery, those are about $100, which is pretty industry standard. On the bottom, you do have a 1/4 by 20 threaded tripod mount. Again, I've got these Primos trigger sticks plates that are in. I really love these things. They've been great. And then on the bottom is where you connect the USB-C port if you want to transfer your files straight from your device into your laptop, or you can charge it from here. You can do all the standard things that you can do with this USB-C port that you can do on almost every thermal. On the other side, it looks like there ought to be something there, but there's nothing there. It's just a dummy spot. Okay, another really cool thing that this thermal does that nobody else is doing is it has shutterless nuke. So you don't actually have to push a button and then wait for the shutters to close. While it is doing that, you have either no image, or you have the exact same image that you've been looking at already and nothing is updating, and then the shutters open back up again, and now you can see a fresh image again. No more. I don't know exactly how they do this on the inside, but there is no shutter, and it nukes itself as needed. I have an idea of how that worked, but I'm just kind of really making stuff up if I were to share that, so I'm just going to keep it to myself. But this works really good. I really enjoy the fact that I don't have the pause, click, unpause, and now we're back again of nuking. That's a really cool feature. Congratulations again, guys, on doing something that nobody else is doing in this market. On the back is where you have the diopter focus, so that way you can get this thing focused to your eyeball. And then you have the lens cover flip cap that I don't use. I don't really know anybody that really cares about these parts, so I just keep mine flipped this way. Being that we do have a hand strap, I obviously have a way to put a lanyard on there. And again, they supply you with a lanyard as well. I just have the same one that I run on everything, and I just stick with the same things I've got. Now, this does have audio and video recording, and that works out really well. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst microphone that's built into this. It works out great. I do enjoy being able to hear the conversations, hear the thuds if I am using this as a third-person viewer, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that it does have both of them. Let's flip to the back here and talk about this eyepiece. Now, it is a 1440 by 1080 AMOLED lens, but this glass does that same thing that the early GoPros did, where you get that fish eye view and nothing is really focused unless you're looking directly at that and have it in the center. And so as I look into this, I've got to move my head either one way or the other to get what I want to see focused straight in line with my eyeball. And then that looks great. It looks clear, but everything else around it gets very distorted. Now, whenever you are looking at footage through this, you don't get that effect. So from between the optical lens to the actual sensor, that all records great, looks beautiful. But between the sensor to the actual display, that's where this lens comes into play. And it doesn't look that great at first. And then after a while of playing with it and just getting used to the fact that it does that, it doesn't really seem to bother me anymore. It's something that I have gotten used to. I have no real problem with it. It's not fun. It's not great. And every time that I pick it up and look through it, I'm like, oh yeah, it does that thing. And then after looking through it for a while, I get over it real quick. So it is something to know. And it's something that you can't really understand until you've looked through it. But again, the closest thing I can explain it is that fish eye view of a GoPro is the type of curvature on the lens that they used for this. It still looks good. There's no real problem with it, but it is a thing. So just want to make sure that y'all are aware of that. And while I'm nitpicking on things, one other thing I want to point out is that with the objective ring, I've noticed that to get focused, you have to get it right where you want it, and then it's focused on that thing, right? But you don't get a lot of focus on things that are a little bit before that or things that are a little bit after that. You've got a very short field of depth to where what you're focused on is right here, but things, again, before and after are staying out of focus. So it has a narrow field of depth, but whatever is in focus does look good. So that's great, but again, it's not like some other thermal scanners where once you get something focused within a big range, everything in that range looks great. This one, it's a very narrow range. I got a feeling that has something to do with the fact that you are moving the focal length of the thermal. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know, but that is also a thing to notice as well. Like always with infiRay, this is backed up by their 5-year, 5-day warranty. This again has a 5-year warranty, but if you send it in and they cannot repair this within them having it for 5 full business days, they will send you a free replacement or upgrade to the most comparable thing that they have at the time. So that is the best warranty that's on the market right now. Nobody else is beating that. So guys, I really enjoyed this thermal. Overall, it has been a pleasure to own, a pleasure to use. I love the idea that before I go out on a hunt, I don't have to think about which scanner I'm going to grab. Do I want to grab the scanner that has low magnification or high magnification? Because sometimes in the places that I hunt, the terrain changes from being in a place where low magnification is what you want, and then all of a sudden you come into an open field, and I wish that I had higher magnification for those things that were further away. And in varying terrain, this is wonderful. It is great because I can stay at low, and then whenever I want to go high, I just turn that dial, and now I'm at a base magnification that brings things that are a lot further away right where I want them to be. The only real question is, do you want to start off at 1.5, which then goes to 3, or do you want to start off at 2.0, which then goes to 4. So that's the only real question you got to ask yourself. Obviously, the 50mm lens, since it does have a bigger eyepiece, does cost more, but I love the fact that I get both thermal scanners knocked out in one right here. Huge win. Alright guys, so that was my review of the iRay infiRay USA Zoom ZH38 dual field of view thermal monocular. This thing is great. I've enjoyed having it. It is something that I'm going to be hanging on to for a long time. I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I hope that this was helpful for y'all. And guys, remember, it's always hog season. Bye.